Well, hey, it's been a vacation. Well, I took one. Did you? Probably not. Today's show is going to be interesting, maybe challenging, maybe not what we're sure is going to happen. Hold on. Yeah, that's okay. Is that turned off? Hold on. Hold on. Let's turn that off. Whew. Okay. Lucky I didn't say the wrong word. We're going to talk about voice activating PTZ cameras for easy use in a sporting environment. And I've set up a baseball diamond here in the studio. And so we'll come back and talk about that. Just 1 second. We've got to do this right here, and we'll be coming right up. Yeah.
Build PCs, taking tech to the fray, making live production feel like a breeze. Got the rhythm pumping, we do it with ease. From setups to transitions, we're flying high in the world of streaming. We're touching the sky, streaming idiots. We're living the dream. With tech support in the mix, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's a man. Camera action, the stage is set. From podcasts to webinars, we're never upset. Tech at our fingertips, the power's so real. Loading up the content, let the viewers feel. Building connections, we're breaking the mold. Every frame a story, every tale told. In this vibrant world, we're living with flair. Streaming idiots unite, let's take it from there. Streaming idiots, streaming idiots. We're living the dream, living the dream. We take support in the mix. Oh, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's a man. Tricks all wrapped in a show, and our extra fun, let the good times flow. From sports to the arts, we're taking the lead. With vMix by our side, there's nothing we need. Troubleshooting smoothly, no hassle or fuss. In the world of tech, we're igniting the buzz. Streaming idiots, we're living the dream. It's supporting the mix, we're a winning team. Tom Sinclair's a man. Let's raise a toast for Tom Sinclair and the team we love most. Streaming idiots, forever we're ruling the scene. With vMix and support, here living the dream.
All right. We've been out of pocket for a while. A planned trip and an unplanned trip. You know how that goes. Well, maybe you don't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We are back in the studio today, and we've turned the studio into a baseball field. And, you know, it's no fun unless you break something. And I've got 4 cameras that I'm using today. One is going to be me right here. And then I've got one right above my head, another one mounted to the ceiling in front of me, and then another one on the tripod over to my left. And then I have, well, you probably can't see it from where you are, but let's see if we can move a camera. Can we move a camera? Let's move a camera. Let's move a camera. Where are our cameras? Yeah, there's the camera. Okay, that's the camera we want. And we want to move that camera just a little bit. So we're going to go up here. Pay no attention to that. But you see on the wall back here, the word batter. Yes, that is home plate. Let's go back where we were. That's about right. No, maybe up a little bit more. Nope, down a little bit more. There we go. That's what we wanted. That's the shot we want. That's the shot we wanted. Yes, it is. So the home plate's behind me, center field's in front of me, first base is to my right, third base is to my left, and then I've set up a dugout shot that's kind of right there. And I've got 3 PTZ cameras. Well, 4, but this one's not included because this one's on me. So I've got 4 cameras overhead, in front, and over in the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. I think I'm only doing 4. I didn't get to third base. So we've got 4 locations with 3 cameras. But not each camera has a shot of each location. So I think 3 of the locations have 2 cameras, and one of them has all 3 cameras. But I guess this is the show. Well, we haven't started yet. We haven't started yet. But I have a problem. And the problem is that one of the cameras does, you know how in vMix, if you've got vMix Pro or vMix 4K or Max, you can move the camera with vMix. And you can set a preset at those locations. And one of the cameras working beautifully. All the cameras are going exactly where the preset is, but 2 of the cameras, and all the cameras that we're using for this job are bird dogs. This camera right here is a PTZ Optics, but I'm using 2 bird dog X1s and an older bird dog P120. And one of the X1s works beautifully. One of them, I can set presets, but it just goes into la la land and just takes one shot and never moves from it. The other, the P120, it will move, but it doesn't move where I told it to move. So anyway, that's a troubleshooting thing, which is going to diminish the effect of today's broadcast, unfortunately. So yeah. So that's, that's life, I guess. I'm behind the ad, in front of the ad. Yeah. So if you guys have got some advice on that, let me know. I may have to reset the cameras. I mean, do factory reset on them or something, because they're just not performing the way they are. Dave, do you know Nick Craig? Has he come up on your radar at all? Hello, Ed. Nick is part of the Amnon group, and he is got I guess, I don't know if it's a syndicated radio show, but it might be syndicated now, in North Carolina. Nick Craig. Anyway, I get his email every morning telling me what his show that day is going to be about. And some of it's pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I'm sure if you're in North Carolina, it's all interesting, but I'm not. But he's got some national stuff as well there, well as some North Carolina area stuff, and probably some city area stuff. So yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Ed. Took some time out. Everything was good. Nothing bad about it. Nothing bad at all. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. How are we doing on time? I don't know why I'm worried about time. It's not like there's a national network that we have to join at a particular time. But they say 3 o'clock. The show starts at 3, but you show up early. I show up early. And then we start the show when it's 3 o'clock Eastern time. I'm not on Eastern time, by the way, in case you didn't know that. But I use Eastern time because I don't think everybody understands what Central time is. Some people get Central and Mountain confused. Some people think there's just, only 1 hour difference between Pacific and Central. No. So I just do Eastern. And everybody in the world, I think, a lot of people in the world that are at all focused on the U.S. know when Eastern time is, and probably know Pacific time, but probably more Eastern, because that's where the action is. On the East Coast is the action place. Yep. Yep. Hello, Nick on air. Is the volume low? Well, let's see. Could be mic placement. Hold on. Is that better? Check 1, 2. Let's check this little guy right here. Is he on 10? Oh, yeah, he looks like he is. Looks like he is. It's the Hollyland Lark that I've been using. I bought it for my phone, but it just turns out working pretty well. You can't see it there, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So funny that you guys would talk about volume of audio, because that's what we're going to talk about today is vMix Voice, and using vMix Voice to control PTZ cameras. And I did a show on vMix Voice. vMix Voice started out, let's start the show and I'll tell you this story. It's a funny story. So yeah, here we go. Let's go with it. All right, thank you, Mark. Okay, love it. So, yeah, here's the story. April 1st, here in the U.S., that's known as April Fool's Day, where you are encouraged, at least in culture, to play practical jokes or, to have funnies that aren't what they seem. I mean, here locally, we have a big bay. It's called Mobile Bay, and it's real shallow, except for a trench dug in it by the Army Corps of Engineers that allows big ships to pass in and out as a harbor. And the local TV station announced that a group of Japanese investors were going to put an underwater amusement park in Mobile Bay, which of course, isn't deep enough for anything unless you dredge it out. And they had all the information. They had pictures of what it looked like. It was a very elaborate April Fool's joke, and the public went absolutely bonkers. And to my knowledge, that station has never ever done an on-air April Fool's joke again. It was. I mean, people were up in arms. They didn't want this thing in the bay, and they didn't see how it was going to destroy the ecology, and it was really pretty funny. The vMix guys have a long-standing reputation as being kind of pranksters and funny guys. And several years ago, maybe 8 years ago now, I'd have to go back and check and see when it happened, they introduced they did a show, and I think it may have been on April Fool's Day, April 1st, where they introduced a new vMix feature called vMix Voice that allowed you to voice control vMix. And you could establish certain words or patterns of sounds that would be a shortcut. And if you went into shortcuts and determined that a shortcut was a voice shortcut, then it would ask you what voice, what sound, what word was it listening for, and you would tell it what word you were listening for. And they did that show, and I tried that on my next show, and I set up far too many. I mean, if one is good, 20 is better. I set up far too many of these voice shortcuts, and they were, you know, to switch different cameras and overlays and all this kind of thing. I was really into it. But what I didn't know was that the, excuse me, the words that I used were also common words that I might use in the conversation, in the course of making a show. So things were flashing on the screen, cameras were changing, everything. It was a total disaster. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a great example of how you can use that product and how you have to be very careful with. When the vMix guys did it, I think a lot of people thought it was a joke because it just happened to be around, if not on, April 1st. And so I don't think a lot of people know about this feature because it was maybe introduced as a joke, but it really is there. Yeah, I think you have to turn it on. Let me pull up a screen capture and I'll show you what we're going to do here. So let me come down here to, let's go up here to settings. And I'm going to go to audio. Is it audio? Yeah, I think it's audio. There, here we go, right there. So we've got something called voice shortcuts. And typically it's not enabled. Let me just move that up there so it's not so confusing. There we go. Typically it's not enabled, but I enabled it and I said, hey, listen to bus B. Bus B. And so obviously if this is going to work, I'm going to have to put my audio right here on bus B. And so I did. So let's go back here. We'll pull out the audio mixer. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. Let's make it more sizable and we'll drag it in right there. And so number 67 right here is my microphone. And you can see down here, let's see, don't do show all. There we go. The B button is not pressed. If I press the B button, or I have a shortcut that presses the B button, it's sort of a toggle on off. Currently it's off. We'll just toggle it right here so you can see. On, off. And I'm not going to say any of my special words while it's on. And I've tried to pick words that I wouldn't otherwise say. We'll see. And what I used for words, and this is all the setup. So let's park that back down there. Show specific. These are the words that I used. This is the U.S. military alphabet. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. I thought these would be unique enough that we could get away with it. And so I set up a series of commands that were as such. Definitely low audio. Okay, working on it. Can we turn it up? Oh, that's on full. Well, let me just add a little. Well, no, that appeared to make it a little louder. We'll see. Oh, I know what it is. The master's turned down. How did that happen? Silly boys. Golly gee. Okay. Thank you, Dave. So here's the list. Got to see which way I'm supposed to look. I think I'm supposed to look that way. First base is alpha. The home plate, the batter, is beta. Center field starts with a C, so it's Charlie. The dugout is Delta. And third base that I never got to was Tango. So we're going to use Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta to control the camera. And in my shortcuts, let's see if we can go back to a desktop capture here. Yeah, we'll use this one right here. Whoa, what is that? Holy cow. Let's get out of that one. Let's go with this one. In my shortcuts, and let's go into settings. We'll go to shortcuts. And as I scroll down to the bottom of the shortcuts, way down here, I've got some voice shortcuts. And we'll take a look at this one. This is voice alpha. And the key control is voice. and the phrase is alpha. And whenever I say alpha, I want this input right here, number 94, PTZ over Tom, to go to preview. I don't want it to go live because I don't want to show the camera motion, but I want it to go to preview so that it's ready to go. And voice is kind of funny because when you first pull up this, if you pull up the drop-down list, I think it generally starts like right there at A. So if you pull it down, it starts at A, and then you've got a bunch of them above it that are just other buttons on your keyboard. And then you get down here into what might be on other keyboards. And then alphabetically, after we get up after the Stream Deck buttons, we get to voice. So we now have a shortcut that's a voice shortcut that goes based on the alpha voice, the word alpha. And you can see, oops, is that still there? Yeah, there we go. I've got a bunch of them, but I had to disable them because they weren't working right, and we'll talk about that maybe in a second. So there's alpha. I don't have a beta for this camera. I've got a delta that goes to input 96, and I've got a Charlie, which goes to input 92. So that's the setup. And the idea was that with, let's see, I've got 2 alphas, 3 deltas, 2 Charlies, and 2 betas. And the idea was that by previewing those inputs, that would move the camera to their position. And it seemed to work. But the other two, for some reason, the other 2 cameras just bombed out in terms of moving where they were supposed to move, regardless of how they were commanded to get there. But we might talk about that in the post-show. So anyway, and then I've got a B command down here that's an audio bus that basically turns off and on the audio bus B based on the pressing of the letter B on the keyboard. So there we go. So that's it. That's the setup. That's the setup. So let's go back here for a second. And I am going to press the letter B. And then, can you see this? Can you see this? Let's, I don't think I can change what my output is while this show is live. Can I? Can I set it to preview? I think I have to restart if I do that. Nope. Okay, so you're seeing what's in preview now. All right, this is good. So I'm going to put myself back in preview for a second. And that should be what you see. And so you're going to actually see what comes to my preview. So we are going to turn on, did we turn on the B button? No, we didn't. Okay, so we're going to do B for B. I don't know if you can see down here, this little guy came on. Oh no, you can't see that, sorry. Anyway, the voice command is turned on. And I have got, let's see, where are my voice commands? There we are. So I've got the ones over me that work. So if I say alpha, alpha, beta, this is embarrassing, Charlie, delta, oh golly, let's go back and check. Hold on. We did something amiss. This worked beautifully 20 minutes ago. All right, so let's go back to the output being output. All right, so you're now seeing desktop capture. And we will look in, let's look at our shortcuts first. Edit, shortcuts, boom. All right, so we've got voice alpha, and now it's going to work. Got it. So we have alpha. How about Charlie? There we go. How about delta? Delta. There we go. All right. So it's a matter of, and what you're seeing is the dugout right there. The word dugout right there. There we go. So alpha, 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 alpha. There we go. Charlie, Charlie. Delta, Charlie. Alpha, alpha. Beta, there is no beta. Charlie, alpha. I think certain words it struggles with more than others. Alpha, alpha, alpha. There we go. There is also, let's go back to settings for just a second. We're going to look under audio, and we've got something called confidence. It's set at 90%. I'm going to reduce it down to 50%, and let's see if that helps any. Okay. All right. Charlie. Delta. Alpha. That was enough to get to alpha. So if you happen to have somebody named Charlie, you're going to be in trouble. If you're getting a visiting group of people from the Delta Force to your field, you might be in trouble there too. And if you've got a kid that's reciting the alphabet, you may be in trouble with that one too. Oh, that didn't do it. Alphabet. Oh, we're already on alpha. How about Charlie? And then alphabet. There we go. There we go. Now the camera motion is a little slow. I had thought and hoped it would be faster. Let's go to the camera settings here, and we're gonna, not sure what we got going on there, but let's go to this camera, and we see that we've got the speed set full speed on everything. So I had hoped that would meant that it would really just rocket to that position, but it doesn't look like that's what's happening. Alpha. Delta. Charlie. Charlie. There's Charlie. Got it. So let's turn this off for just a second, and we'll go back to what we expect to see. So, again, disappointed that the other two cameras wouldn't work for this. Would I find this workable? I would. If I were doing baseball, which is the way this is set up today, I think I can anticipate some of the camera calls. The issue that I had previously with using a PTZ camera controlled by a live operator with a joystick is that there's such latency, at least in the mid to low range PTZ cameras. I don't know anything about the high range because I don't have that kind of money. There's latency in the movement, which means that you start late and you finish late. So it would take an experienced operator to be able to anticipate the movement and then anticipate, if the latency is half a second, he's going to have to stop his joystick movement half a second before the camera arrives at where he wants it to arrive at in his shot. So I think that's going to be difficult. But by doing this, we don't get to show the camera action, or at least I wouldn't. But we can get where we want to be. For example, if we had a situation where we're using the camera behind, or excuse me, we're using the camera that I'm going to call that would have a shot of first base. We might also be using that camera to have a side shot of the pitcher. And so I might go back and forth between those two shots depending on what was going on. If there was a pitch and I've used the pitcher setting for that, and there's a shot to center to the shortstop, I might call for the shortstop camera. Hopefully that wouldn't be the same camera, and then call for the first base camera. By that time, the pitching camera would have moved to first base, and we would have it set. I think it would take some coordination, and you know, based on the slow speed of these cameras, I'm not sure this would work, but it would be possible, I think, for one person to do a broadcast with multiple cameras, and their cheat sheet. Did I show you my cheat sheet? Let me show you my cheat sheet. This is my cheat sheet right here. So this tells me the camera number, or excuse me, the shot number for each camera, and I've assigned an alphanumeric or an alpha command to each one of those. So if I have multiple, well, let's go back to this shot for just a second. I've got multiple cameras that are over Tom, or multiple shots that are over Tom, 94, 92, and 96. And then I've got the front ceiling cameras has different shots, but has 3 of them. And the hallway camera has different shots, but 3 of them. You can see the dugout gets all 3. Each of the other 2 locations just get 2. But I think if it was a situation, and the reason why I set it up like this is so that I could get all of the cameras that had a preset shot moving to that location. So all the cameras that had a shot at the batter could be there. And then I would have to use some sort of multi-view to quickly select which one of those cameras I wanted. If it was a dugout shot, I'd know that one of the cameras had the best dugout shot. But maybe there's somebody that's walking up the dugout steps, and I know that another camera has a better shot of that. I would have to be really intimately acquainted with the cameras in order to be able to do that. That's the thing. That's the thing. So yeah. So what do you think? Would that work? Would that work for you? It would be a lot of trouble. It would be a lot of trouble. And Ed says in the chat, it'd be great to set a command for all the cameras to remove to a home base shot to do a white balance. That would certainly be helpful in the setup process. Tommy Willis says he's found that some words are hard for AI to recognize, and to try another word for alpha. I could do that. Yeah, I could assign it to any one. I like using the military list because those would be words that supposedly were designed to be words that would be used in a situation where you needed to not be confused one word with another. Quebec, I'm not sure what that would be close to. Papa, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, yeah, Zulu. And it also depends on who's calling it. You noticed when I cut the confidence down from 80% or 90% down to 50%, it seemed to help a little bit. And I'm not sure that there are other ways. There may be ways that I can actually get using AI to substitute my voice for a more specific command. because, yeah, just because. Maverick says, use Alexa or Siri as one of the keywords for voice command. yeah, that would create an interesting thing in the press box. It would. And Dave says, unless you're in an enclosed location, auto spill would be a problem. It could. You know, if the pitcher's name was Charlie. Yep. And those, you know, in those situations, we'd have to be careful with words. And Ed is saying, you know, we cover the symphony, but we don't get a rehearsal time with them. So it'd be great to have multiple cameras set up like you did for baseball. Yeah, Rich, I knew that was you. I'm just the vendor. Rich had a post in Facebook last night showing himself on a big screen, a giant LED screen mounted on the back of an ocean-going vessel that we had put a vMix machine in there for them so that they could show movies and have live video, and we were demonstrating to them how it would look with an old version of this show that just happened to have Rich and me on the screen. So that was fun. Yeah, I think, you know, RJ does, I don't know if he does symphony, but I think he does band, and I think he also does drama. And so those kinds of things could be set nicely, I would think. It would be tough to do with one camera because then you're showing camera motion. And that's what we were trying to do 3 weeks ago, by using AI to write scripts that could be coupled together to show a PTZ camera what to do in a repeated format. So my scenario was to say, you know, I've got a road in front of me where cars enter the road, they speed up, and then they sort of disappear behind trees. And so if I could zoom in on when they enter the street, then pull back and then pan, and have that all be one command. And just basically trying to mimic a memorized function. We'll see. We will see. Maverick says he was trying to get more folks to come to me. Well, thank you. And Sportsio says, there's always someone who jumps in at the last minute and asks a question that was answered a long time ago. I'm at that risk. What PTZ camera do you use for sports? Great question. I don't use PTZ cameras for sports. I've never thought that they were good for sports. I would always much rather have a live operator that I can use comms to talk with wherever they are, and have that camera operator operate the camera. And my theory has been, especially doing, you know, high school sports, is that there's not a lot of money involved. And you know, sometimes you get camera people by paying them in pizza, and you get what you get. And so it's easier to teach a person how to pan a camera and maybe even zoom it than it is to teach them to use a joystick. Now, I know, you know, kids are using joysticks all over the place these days, but it's not the joystick that they're using. It's again, it has that latency in it. And I think it would frustrate most kids. And that's why panning a camera and doing some zoom is a much easier thing to teach in 10 minutes. That's where I'm going with that. Now, if the PTZ cameras are set up the way that we're talking about today, but obviously better than I did in this demonstration, that would kind of fall on the technical director to, or maybe another director, you know, a director that's making the camera calls, and then the TD that's actually executing those calls. That's what I think. But I'm still on the fence as to whether the PTZ camera is really usable in sports as the only camera that's being used. Multiple PTZs. I think it could be worked in where you have fixed shots that are always going to be the same, or a crowd shot that you want to slowly pan, the flip of the coin, a coach shot if the coach is generally in the same space, cheerleader shot, band shot, those kinds of things. Maverick says it's hard when it's a loud environment or other people talking. Absolutely, absolutely. It would probably need to be a very controlled environment, I would think. But if you've got a headset and you've got a mic right there at your mouth, it probably could be more focused in. And the audio doesn't have to be, or wouldn't at all be part of the broadcast. It would just be assigned to a, in this case, what did we assign it to? The A channel? Yeah. Oh no, the B channel. We assigned it to the B channel, and the B channel didn't go to master. So yeah, it kind of was what it was. Yeah, let's close out the show and we'll go back to the comments, and I'll get your comments on the screen because that's always more fun. So let's see, can we get out of here? We can probably get out of here. We've done this before. I think we've done this before. Okay, hold on. Okay. Don't know that I'd be doing that. Don't know that I'd be doing that. Yeah, an OB truck is generally, it's generally a pretty quiet environment. I mean, the times that I've visited one, the only person's voice that I hear is the TD and the occasional question. All right, let's see. Most PTCs do not go from point A to point B, but actually follow the path set by the operator when they were using the joystick and taking a somewhat wobbly path to the destination. I think that's true. I think that's true. And it's also true that the PTZs, at least the ones that I'm involved with, don't go from point A to point B if I tell them to take that, to do the vMix thing where he goes from one shot to the other. A lot of times they'll stair step it. Yep. I agree. And if you could make one PTZ camera do, 10 shots that, just bam, 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 bam. They're predetermined, so nobody has to operate it except, a TD that's setting it up in preview himself, as opposed to having as opposed to calling a camera operator. We will just see if this gets used more and more in the future. The videos I sent you where the camera had its own auto follow setup were actually quite good. Yes, I thought so too. And I was trying to do it on the cheap. I didn't want to use any high-end stuff. I never buy pizza during football or basketball seasons. We have a great vendor that delivers pizza in exchange for two mention ads per game. Oh, there you go. That's cheap. Absolutely. I agree. Let's see. I know RJ will use one, maybe two cameras on the same tripod two cameras on the same tripod. One is zoomed in and one is a wide shot. And so as he pans, he's not zooming at all, either one. He's just panning. And so he can switch back and forth from the wide shot to the hero shot. But if he had a third or fourth camera, he could do other things that he wouldn't be able to do. That quick shot to the game clock, even though you may have a clock running across in a lower third, that quick shot to the game clock to show, there's 10 seconds left, there's 2 seconds left in this timeout, or 2.3 seconds, or whatever it is. That's all. That's good. That's good video. That's good video. I agree. I was hoping I could make vMix do that without stair stepping. Make it appear that we have recorded a path for the camera without having the camera do all this to get where it's going. Yep. Presets, yes. Did I say presents? No telling, Ed. Could have been. I could have said anything. I wouldn't put myself past it. I wouldn't put myself past it. So the goal of today was to see if we could set up multiple cameras to do multiple different shots, pre-configured shots. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not real bright. I think I'm missing all that. But that's okay. That's okay. So I don't think I would give myself a C- on this one. You sort of explained what you were talking about, Tom, but you failed to show it adequately. But it's the idea that really I wanted to get across more than anything else. And maybe somebody out there will get sparked by it and say, you know what? That's the perfect thing for doing a high school graduation. I can have one camera, I can have two cameras, and I can have 25 different pre-configured shots. So there we go. Hi, Tom. I've been using PTZ optics cameras for the past 5 years for high schools, for all high school sports. Football is the only one that I went back to man cameras. Really? Really? I would think basketball would be the toughest. I could see baseball A-okay. Soccer's kind of like basketball, but with a bigger field. I mean, in terms of people running around and the action on it. Okay. Looking for a PTZ camera that actually accurately reproduces the smooth movements of the ball and the athletes. I ain't got it for you. Some of the AI-driven cameras might be able to do that. You just have to test them. I mean, a lot of cameras now have that follow capability in them. I know I think the Panasonics do. I know the PTZ optics do. I think the Bird Dogs do. Those are the cameras that I run into more often than not, but I'm sure there are other, you could spend $30,000 on a camera and do practically anything you want. But whether it's a sub $5,000 or sub $2,000 camera, that's kind of the question. Yes, he does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rich is slowly retiring. Rich, I don't know how you kept up that travel schedule. He was flying all over the country. He was actually in, what was it, in Pensacola, where I met you that one day. That was fun. Oh, yes. Camera up. Not the camera of. There you go. There you go. Well, guys, it's been a treat. I have got to get along. I've got a call coming up here shortly. Got to do some training with somebody. But I appreciate you. Give me a like. You know the routine. And I will see you back here next week. Let's take a look at the camera, at the calendar. Today is, I will see you next week. I'll see you next week. And I'll see you the week after that. And the week after that. And the week after that. Oh, this is great. This is great. Ed says, I used to have a friend working on the Detroit Red Wings PTZ goal cams. Bless his heart. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, if you haven't already listened to the what do you call it? The outro to the outro song. You need to. It's a fun song. Coming right up.
Well, it's the end of the show, the lights are down low. We've had some laughs and now it's time to go. Streaming idiots, delight on display. Hope you enjoyed it. We had fun today. From the very first laugh to the final goodbye, we shared our moments, oh my, oh my. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. Each week we gather with jokes and smiles, from techie mishaps to quirky styles. Every stream is magic, a little surprise. More than just a show, it's all about the ties. We're a family here, part of your feed, chasing the giggles, fulfilling the need. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. So grab your popcorn and settle right in. With laughs on the screen, let the fun begin. From the couch or your bed, wherever you be, join us next time, come laugh with glee. We love your comments, your hearts and your cheers. Together we make memories that last through the years. So we wave goodbye, but don't shed a tear. We'll be back next week to bring you more cheer. In this digital age, we're all on a roll. Streaming idiots, it's more than a stroll. Just hit that like and don't you forget. Keep spreading the joy, the fun's not done yet. So thank you, it's been a blast. We'll keep the fun rolling, this won't be our last. See you next week, set your reminders. More craziness coming, we're joyful finders. So here's to the laughter, the joy that we share. With every single moment, we'll always be there. As the curtains close and the credits roll. Thanks, guys, for being part of our soul. Well, it's the end